The stars above the planet of Velmora shone like tiny crystals. It was the capital world of the Varellan Empire, ruled by Queen Thalira. She was proud and strong. Known across many systems, her people were tall, graceful, and believed in power. Through tradition, when they spoke, others listened. When they fought, others feared. But something unexpected had happened. A new race had entered their part of space. They were called humans. They came from a small blue planet named Earth. At first, the Varellans laughed. The humans were short, emotional, and curious, but they were brave, and they were fast learners. Queen Thalira had watched humans grow stronger in trade, science, and alliances. Many Varellans warned her that the humans might challenge their power someday. She decided to act before that happened. She sent a message to the Earth Council. It was a challenge, a match of skill and strength, her message said. One fighter from your world, one for mine. No war, no weapons, just one battle in the ancient way. If you win, the Varellan Empire will allow your colonies in our sector. If we win, your people must leave forever. The humans replied quickly. We accept. Then Queen Thalira made a bold move. She added a prize. If the human wins, he shall hold a royal bond with my daughter, Princess Lyra. She will live with him for 1 year and learn human ways. If the Varellan wins, Earth will owe us trade and service for 10 years. The galaxy was shocked. Betting a princess was rare. Some called it clever. Others called it foolish. But Thalira had her reasons. She believed no human could defeat her champion. He was tall, powerful, trained from birth. His name was Solvin, and no one had ever beaten him. The humans chose their own fighter. His name was Ren. He was not tall. He was not royal. He was calm and quiet. He wore simple clothes and didn't carry any medals. People laughed when they saw him step off his ship. This is your warrior? Someone whispered. But Ren only smiled and said nothing. The arena was built on a floating platform above the clouds. Thousands came to watch. There were bright banners and music. Queen Thalira sat on a high throne. Her daughter, Princess Lyra, stood beside her. She had silver eyes and long black hair. She looked strong but curious. Lyra leaned toward her mother. Are you sure about this? Thalira nodded. Watch, you will see. Ren walked onto the arena floor. Across from him, Solvin entered in golden armor. He held a long staff made from star metal. The crowd cheered loudly. The rules were simple. No weapons but what was given. No tricks. No killing. The winner must knock the other down 3 times. Honor was everything. The match began. Solvin rushed. First, fast like wind, he swung the staff toward Ren's side. But Ren bent low and rolled away. The crowd gasped. Solvin attacked again. Harder this time. Ren dodged once more. Then tapped Solvin's leg with his hand. It looked like nothing, but Solvin lost balance and fell. First point to Ren. Solvin stood, angry now. He rushed again. This time, he used both hands. Ren blocked the staff with his arms, stepped aside, and pulled Solvin forward. The Varellan fell again. Second point, the arena went quiet. Queen Thalira sat very still. Lyra stared at the human, her eyes wide. Solvin rose. Once more. He was careful now. He moved slower, watching Ren's feet and eyes. They circled each other. Then Solvin feinted left and struck right, removed with perfect timing. He didn't block this time. He stepped in and used Solvin's power against him. With one smooth move, he flipped Solvin onto his back. Third point. Match over. Silence. Then a sound rose from the human section. It was cheering, loud and proud. Ren bowed to Solvin, then turned to the queen. Queen Thalira stood. She walked to the center. Her face was calm, but her voice was heavy. Earth has won the match, she said, as agreed. The royal bond begins. Lyra stepped forward. She didn't look afraid. She looked curious. Ren met her in the middle of the arena. He did not bow like the Varellans. He simply nodded. I'm Ren. I don't own people, but I will keep the bond with honor. Lyra raised an eyebrow. We'll see what honor means to humans. The queen turned and left the arena without another word. That night, stars above Velmora burned brighter than usual. The wind carried the news across planets. A human had beaten a Varellan, and the princess of a proud empire would now live by his side for 1 full year. Some called it strange. Others called it the beginning of something new. But Ren only thought of the path ahead. A quiet warrior, a royal guest, and a galaxy watching every move. The bond had begun, and nothing would ever be the same again. The stars above Earth looked different from the stars above Velmora. They were the same stars. But Princess Lyra felt something had changed. Maybe it was the way humans looked at the sky. With hope, not pride. With wonder, not control. Lyra stood beside Ren on the viewing deck of the Earth ship Sierra Light. They were heading toward the human capital, a place called New Dawn. Below them, Earth shined like a soft blue gem. Oceans, forests, and lights spread across the surface. It was beautiful in a quiet way. She did not speak to Ren for the first hour of the trip. She kept her arms crossed, eyes forward. Ren didn't push her. He respected silence. That surprised her more than anything. Most Varellans would have reminded her of the bond. They would have listed rules or given commands. Ren did none of that. He simply stood beside her, calm and steady. After some time, she asked, "Why did you fight in the arena? Was it for fame?" "No," Ren said. "For power?" "No." "Then why?" He looked out the window before answering. "Because peace matters more than pride." Lyra turned her head slightly. His answer didn't make sense at first. In her world, strength was everything. But humans thought in ways she didn't understand. When they landed on Earth, Lyra expected guards, fanfare, or reporters. But there was only a soft breeze and a single path that led into a quiet city. Ren handed her a small tablet. "This is your schedule," he said. "You are free to walk around. There are no guards watching you. But during the bond year, we stay close. You learn our ways." That was the deal. Lyra looked at the tablet, "And if I choose not to follow it?" He didn't raise his voice. "Then you break your mother's word, not mine." That stung more than she expected. Breaking honor in Varellan culture was shameful, even if she disliked the deal. She knew she had to keep it. Over the next few days, she followed Ren through his routine. He didn't live in a palace. He lived in a small house with wide windows and a small garden. He made his own food and cleaned his own clothes. That shocked her the most. "You're Earth's champion," she said. "Why do you live like this?" Ren smiled. "Because I like it. I don't fight for a throne. I fight to protect what matters." Lyra began to watch him more closely. He trained every morning in silence. He helped children cross streets. He fixed broken things without being asked. No one bowed to him, but people respected him each day. Ren took her to different places. A school, where children asked her questions about space. A library, where quiet minds read books for hours. A music hall, where sound filled the air like light. She didn't understand humans, but something inside her began to shift. One evening, they sat in the garden. The sun was low. Birds sang from nearby trees. "Why don't you treat me like a prize?" Lyra asked suddenly. Ren looked at her. "Because you're not a prize. You're a person. But my mother made a deal. You won the bond. I accepted. The bond to build peace, not to control someone. You have the right to learn and choose. That's how we do things here." Lyra didn't answer right away. She remembered how many times people on Velmora had told her what to be. A princess, a symbol, a tool for power. But no one had ever said she could choose. She whispered, "That's strange." "It's human," Ren said. The next day, Lyra asked to visit a human learning center. Ren took her to a science lab where young minds built machines and studied stars. One girl showed Lyra a small device that made artificial rain. "We're testing how to grow food on dry planets," the girl said with a proud smile. Lyra touched the machine gently. "In my world, this would be a military tool." The girl blinked. "Here, we use science to help, not to hurt." That night, Lyra stood in the garden again. Alone this time, she looked up at the stars. Her heart was full of questions. Why were humans not what she expected? Why did she feel safer here than in her own palace? She heard Ren walk outside. He didn't speak at first. He stood beside her, hands in his pockets. I'm beginning to see why my mother feared your kind. Lyra said softly. Because we fight back, Ren asked. No. Because you change people without using force. Ren looked at her. We don't always get it right. We've made mistakes. But we try, and trying makes us human. She looked at him for a long moment. He wasn't like the Varellan warriors. He didn't need armor to feel strong. His strength came from stillness, from choice. From the way he carried the bond with quiet dignity. I don't hate this bond anymore, she said finally. Ren gave a small smile. It's not a chain. It's a bridge. For the first time since arriving, Lyra smiled too. The stars above Earth twinkled gently. Two worlds had been far apart, but now a single bond had begun to bring them closer. And deep inside, Lyra knew this was only the beginning. Princess Lyra stood at the edge of a green hill, watching the sun rise over the city of New Dawn. It was her third week on Earth, and each day brought something new. The city below was full of light, noise, and energy. People moved in every direction. Flying cars hummed above the roads, and children laughed in nearby parks. It was nothing like the tall, cold towers of Velmora. She had grown up in silence, tradition, and strict rules. But here on Earth, life felt alive, sometimes messy, sometimes loud, but always real. Ren stood beside her, holding two cups of warm tea. He offered one to her. She took it and nodded in thanks. Today, he said, you'll see the Academy of Earth Science. What do humans study there? Lyra asked. Everything. Ren replied, from the smallest atom to the farthest star. As they walked toward the academy, Lyra noticed something interesting. No one bowed to Ren, but many people greeted him with smiles and respect. They said his name with warmth. He answered each one kindly, without pride. Lyra had seen how Varellan leaders walked, always ahead, never looking down. But Ren walked among his people like an equal. That difference stayed in her mind. When they reached the academy, a young student named Maiko greeted them. Welcome, Princess Lyra, Maiko said with excitement. We prepared a special tour. Lyra was surprised. You know who I am, of course. You're the first Varellan guest on Earth. Everyone's talking about you. They walked through glass halls filled with quiet minds and glowing screens. Students worked on machines, maps, and language codes. Some were building small satellites. Others studied plant life from other planets. In one room, a boy showed her a metal cube that floated in the air. This is our latest gravity tool, he said. It helps us build stations in space without pressure problems. Lyra touched it carefully. Your people make tools for peace. Ours make tools for power. The boy smiled. Peace is the greatest power. His words stayed in her thoughts. Later, Maiko brought Lyra to a garden inside the academy. It was full of flowers and soft music. She saw children planting seeds and writing notes. This is our nature lab, Maiko said. We test how to grow food in low-light worlds. Lyra looked at the children. They are young. Why give them such work? Because they're the future, Maiko said. And we trust our future. That sentence made her pause. She remembered how her own people trained children. Lessons were strict. Obedience came first. Questions were not welcome. But here, the questions were everything. That evening, Lyra sat with Ren on the rooftop garden of his home. The stars above Earth seemed closer than before. I never thought humans would be this advanced, she said. I thought your people were simple. We are simple in some ways, Ren said. But we care. We build not just to win, but to help. That's our strength. Lyra looked at the sky. I saw a child explain solar winds today, on Velmora. That knowledge is only given to scientists. Why teach it so early? Because children are ready. Ren said, sometimes more than adults. Lyra nodded slowly. I understand now. Your power is not in ships or weapons. It's in people. Ren smiled. That's why the Queen feared us. Not because we might attack, but because we might inspire. Lyra did not answer. She felt the truth of his words. The next day, Ren took her to a music center. It was made of wood and glass. Inside, people played soft songs on old instruments. One woman played a slow melody on something called a violin. Lyra closed her eyes. The music touched her heart in a way she had never felt before. No machine, no screen, just sound and soul. After the music, Ren asked, "Do your people have this kind of art?" "We have sound patterns," she said, "for ceremonies. But nothing like this. Music connects." Ren said, "It tells stories without words." Lyra looked at him. "And what story is this one telling?" Ren closed his eyes. "The story of hope." Lyra didn't speak, but her silence meant she understood. In the following days, Lyra continued exploring Earth. She met teachers who explained history with honesty. She met workers who repaired ships with joy. She even met elders who shared stories of Earth's past, some dark, some bright. One old woman told her, "We made mistakes, many, but we learned. That's what keeps us growing." Lyra asked, "Do your leaders allow such truth to be spoken?" The woman laughed gently. "Our leaders speak truth because we choose them, and we change them if they lie." That shocked her the most. In the palace on Velmora, leaders ruled by blood and title. On Earth, leaders ruled by trust. One evening, Lyra sat in Ren's garden and said, "Earth is not perfect, but it tries, and that effort is beautiful." Ren nodded. "Trying is what makes us human." The stars above Earth blinked softly. Lyra looked at them, thinking of her home. She remembered her mother's strong voice. She remembered the tall walls of the palace. Now, she stood in a place with no walls, only doors. She whispered, "Perhaps my mother didn't lose me. Perhaps she gave me a chance." Ren didn't reply. He simply watched the stars with her. Something was changing, not just in her thoughts, but in her heart. Far from Earth, beyond the edge of the peaceful stars, the Varellan Empire watched in silence. News of Princess Lyra's time on Earth had spread across the empire. Some nobles whispered that she had forgotten her duties. Others said she had gone soft, but one man did not whisper. He planned. Commander Vorn, a high-ranking officer in the Varellan fleet, stood inside a dark command room aboard a large warship. He stared at a map of Earth's sector, his face calm but cold. "This bond must end," he said to his second officer. "The princess is not a gift to humans. She belongs to the Empire." The second officer looked unsure, but the queen made the deal herself. She still honors it. Vorn turned sharply. "The queen acts with heart. I act with reason, and my reason says the humans are a threat." He tapped the map. "We move quietly. No war, just presence, a few ships at the edge of Earth's space. Let them feel our breath." Meanwhile on Earth, Lyra sat in the public library of New Dawn. She read a book about ancient Earth struggles, wars, peace talks, revolutions. What surprised her most was how humans wrote honestly about their past. They didn't hide their mistakes. She closed the book and looked out the tall window. Children played in the garden. Old people sipped tea. No soldiers guarded the city. No warships flew above. This place felt free. That evening, Ren received a message from Earth's Defense Council, a quiet alert. Several unknown ships had entered Earth's outer zone. No attack. No message. Just movement. Ren shared the news with Lyra. She frowned. "Those are Varellan ships. I know their flight pattern. They're not here by mistake." "They're testing us," Ren said. "You should send a warning." She replied, "No, that's what they want. If we respond with fear, we feed their power." "I'll speak." With calm, Lyra looked at him. "You still believe peace can stop war?" "I believe truth can." The next day, Ren requested a communication link to the Varellan fleet. The message was clear and respectful. He stood in a simple room with no weapons, no guards, and no flag. Just him and his voice. "This is Ren of Earth. The bond between Princess Lyra and Earth was made in honor. It remains unbroken. Your presence near our borders is noted but not returned with fear. We are watchers, not warriors, but we protect what we love." Commander Vorn watched the message in silence. Then he turned to his crew. "He speaks like a poet, but poems cannot stop ships." Still, he did not attack. He waited. That was his way. back on Earth. Lyra stood in the garden with Rin. The air was still, but something felt different. She spoke softly. If Forn has moved ships without the Queen's order, he risks much. He risks war. Rin said, but we won't give it to him. Later, Lyra sent a message to her mother. She spoke with care. Mother, I honor the bond. As you asked, I have seen Earth with open eyes. They are not weak. They are not wild. They are simply different, and that difference has value. Queen Thalira watched the message alone. She said nothing, but her eyes were filled with thought. A few days passed. Then, a surprise came. A small Varellan shuttle entered Earth's space. Unarmed, it carried one guest. An elder from the Queen's court, sent to observe. Not spy. Not control. Just observe. Rin and Lyra met the elder in the great hall of Earth's Unity Council. The elder bowed politely and said, I come with no threat. The Queen has chosen to watch. Not to act. She asks only one thing, truth. Lyra stepped forward. Truth is here. If we open our hearts to it, the elder stayed for 3 days. He walked Earth's streets. He spoke to humans of all kinds, farmers, builders, healers, dreamers. Then he sent a message back to the Queen. Earth does not rule with fear. They rule with trust. That makes them strong. Commander Vorn, on hearing this, grew quiet. He realized something he had not seen before. Earth had power, not in weapons, but in loyalty, in the way people stood together. Back on Earth, Lyra sat with Rin near a calm lake. The water moved slowly under the light of 2 moons. Your people surprised me again, she said. You didn't push, you didn't hide, you just opened the door. That's the human way, Rin said. We don't win hearts with force. We win them by listening. Lyra smiled. I came here as a prize, but I no longer feel like one. I feel free. Rin nodded. You are. You always were. They sat in silence as stars filled the sky above them. Far away in her palace, Queen Thalira received the elder's report. She walked to her window and looked out into space. She placed her hand on a glass orb. It glowed softly with Lyra's image. She whispered, maybe I did not lose my daughter. Maybe I gave her to something greater. The shadows of the Empire were still there, but light was rising. And in the heart of a once simple planet, something powerful was growing. The skies above Earth were quiet, but deep inside the human council, things were not calm. A message had arrived from Commander Vorn. It was not a threat, but it was strong. I will arrive in 5 days, the message said. I wish to speak. Face to face, prepare. The council members gathered in a tall room made of clear glass and shining metal. The ocean could be seen in the distance. Rin sat near the center, silent as always. Lyra stood beside him. Is it a trick? One council member asked. Vorn doesn't use tricks, Rin answered. He uses pressure. This is a test. What will he ask? Another voice said. Lyra spoke gently. He will ask for my return. He believes I have forgotten the Empire, that I belong to him. Rin looked at her. Do you want to go back? Lyra shook her head. Not yet. I am still learning. The council agreed to allow the meeting. Rin would speak for Earth. Lyra would speak for herself. 5 days later, Vorn's ship arrived. It was large and sharp like a blade, painted in deep silver. It landed on a floating platform near the sea. No weapons were shown, but its size alone was enough to make people nervous. Vorn stepped out with 2 guards behind him. He wore dark armor and a long cloak. His face was hard, his eyes sharp. Rin met him at the entrance. There were no smiles, only calm words. Welcome to Earth, Rin said. This world is quiet, Vorn replied. To quiet. Peace often feels that way. Inside the meeting hall, Vorn sat across from Rin and Lyra. Round them stood members of Earth's council, a few scholars, and silent watchers. The room was filled with tension. Vorn looked at Lyra first. Princess, your place is beside the Queen. Your time here has gone long enough. The bond must end. Lyra answered without fear. The bond is not broken, but it is mine to carry. I follow the path I was given. You follow the ways of humans, Vorn said sharply. You dress like them, speak like them, think like them. You forget who you are. I remember, Lyra said, but I have also discovered who I could become. Vorn turned to Rin. And you walk in silence, but your silence leads others. You have changed her. You are dangerous, Rin's voice was steady. Change is not danger. Change is growth. She saw Earth. She made her own choice. You hold her under a quiet power, Vorn said. You make her believe she is free. I do not hold her, Rin replied. She walks beside me by her own will. The room grew still. Vorn stood and walked slowly to the window. He looked out at the sea, then turned back. You fight with no weapon, Rin of Earth. But your fight is real. You use respect as a sword. You use truth as a shield. I do not trust it. Rin stood now. That is your right. But fear of truth is not strength. Vorn walked closer. Let us test your truth, human. Just once. No arena, no rules, just words. Speak to the Empire. Rin raised an eyebrow. How? Vorn pointed to the floating message orb on the table. Speak into it. Your voice will be sent to the Varellan worlds. Let them hear your side. Let them judge. Rin looked at Lyra. She gave a small nod. The moment was big, but Rin did not fear it. He stepped forward and touched the orb. It glowed with soft blue light. Then he began. My name is Rin. I come from Earth, a planet small in size, but large in spirit. I am not a king. I am not a ruler. I am a fighter, yes, but I do not fight to control. I fight to protect. When your queen made the bond, I accepted it to avoid war. I did not know what would follow. But now, I have seen something greater. Your princess is not my prize. She is my guest, my teacher, and my friend. Earth does not wish to rule your stars. We wish to share them, not by force. By understanding. If that is weakness, then we accept it. But I do not believe it is weakness. I believe it is hope. He stepped back. The orb blinked, then turned dark. The message was sent. No one spoke for a long moment. Then Vorn said, You speak like a leader. I speak like a human, Rin replied. Vorn's eyes studied him. Then he looked at Lyra one last time. You will not return. I will return when I choose, she said. Not as a symbol, but as a voice. Vorn turned without another word and walked out of the hall. His ship rose into the sky and vanished into the stars. After he left, many council members sighed with relief. But Rin remained calm. It is not over, he said. But something has begun. Later that night, Lyra stood on the roof of the council building. The city lights shimmered below. Rin joined her. You spoke well, she said. Even my people will feel it. I didn't speak to change them, Rin said. I spoke to tell the truth. Lyra nodded. And that is why they might change. She looked at him. I was sent to live under your care. Now I walk beside you by choice. Rin looked at the stars. Then the bond has grown stronger. Lyra smiled. Yes, not by command, but by trust, and far above, across the dark space. The voice of one human fighter moved between stars, quiet, steady, unshaken. It reached worlds that had never heard such words before, and some began to listen. A soft wind moved through the trees of new dawn. The skies were calm and clear. Earth was at peace. But inside the heart of Princess Lyra, something deeper was growing. She now walked the streets of Earth not as a guest, but as a student. The bond with Rin still remained, but it no longer felt like a chain from the arena. It had changed into something lighter and stronger, a connection built on respect. Each morning, Lyra attended the Human Academy of Diplomacy. The academy was open to all people from Earth and its nearby colonies. It was not a place of strict rank. It was a place of open minds. Lyra sat with students from many worlds. Some were young, some were older, but all were curious. They asked her questions not to test her, but to understand her. How does your empire choose leaders? A girl named Lean asked. Our leaders come from noble families, Lyra said. They are trained and rule from childhood, and can the people remove them if they do not lead well? Lyra paused. No, that is not our way. The students exchanged looks. No one mocked her, but she felt their surprise. Later that day, she asked Rin, why do humans allow so many voices to guide one world? Does it not cause disorder? It does sometimes, Ren answered, but from many voices. We find balance. It is not perfect, but it gives people the right to shape their future. That idea stayed in her thoughts. One afternoon, Lyra stood before her class and gave a short speech. I came to Earth as part of a royal agreement. At first, I thought I was here to observe and return. But now, I learn each day. I see a world where questions are not punished, where leaders are chosen, not feared, where learning never stops. Earth has shown me that power is not always loud. Sometimes, it is quiet and kind. Her classmates clapped softly. Their faces showed respect, not for her title, but for her words. In the evenings, Lyra and Ren met in the garden. They often shared food and stories. Ren would tell her about Earth's long history, how it faced dark times but always found a way forward. Lyra listened with care. Your people made mistakes, she said one night. Yes, Ren replied, many times. But we tried to learn from them. That is something we were never taught in the Empire, Lyra said. We only speak of victories. You are learning a new kind of strength, Ren said. Lyra looked at the stars. And you are teaching without teaching, Ren smiled. That is the best kind. One day, a message came from Velmora. It was from Queen Thalira herself. The queen had watched her daughter's growth from afar. Now, she sent words, not commands. My daughter, the bomb will soon reach its end. You are free to return. The Empire waits. But only come if your heart calls you. I no longer rule your path. Lyra read the message twice. She stood in silence. Then she told Ren, my mother has changed. Just a little. But it matters, Ren nodded. Sometimes one small change leads to a new future. In the final weeks of the bond, Lyra was invited to speak at the Global Unity Forum. Leaders from many worlds gathered. The room was filled with voices, lights, and hope. When it was her turn, she stepped forward without fear. I am Princess Lyra of the Varellan Empire. A year ago, I stood in an arena as a prize and a challenge. I thought honor was measured in power, but I have learned that honor also lives in truth and peace. Earth welcomed me not as a symbol, but as a guest. They asked me not to follow, but to walk beside them. They did not change who I am. They helped me see more of who I can be. The bond will end soon, but I did not leave Earth with chains. I leave with choice, and that is the greatest gift I have received. When she stepped back, the hall was silent. Then a wave of soft clapping began. It rose slowly, steady, and deep. The sound of respect. After the forum, Ren met her outside. You spoke from the heart, he said. It is the only place I know now, she answered. They walked through the garden one last time. This year changed me, Lyra said. I saw another way. I felt it. I lived it. I can never return to who I was before. You don't have to, Ren said. She looked at him. You changed too. You are no longer just a fighter. Ren smiled. Maybe I became a guide. Lyra smiled back, and I became a bridge. The stars above seemed closer that night. Earth was no longer just a planet to her. It had become a part of her journey, a chapter she would carry into the future. The bond between them had done more than connect to people. It had connected to worlds, and the story was not ending. It was only turning a page. The final sunrise of Lyra's journey on Earth rose slowly over the city of New Dawn. Warm golden light touched the silver towers and green parks. Birds flew across the sky as if they were celebrating something special. Inside the garden of the Global Academy, Lyra stood near a tall tree. Her silver dress moved gently with the breeze. Ren walked toward her. He wore simple clothes, just like always. His steps were calm, but his eyes held many thoughts. Lyra turned to him and smiled. Today the bond ends, she said softly. Yes, Ren replied, but the path ahead is yours now. There was a quiet pause between them. It was not an empty silence. It was filled with everything they had learned, everything they had shared. I was afraid in the beginning, Lyra said. I thought I was only a piece in a royal game. And I thought I was only a fighter who won a prize, Ren replied. But you became something more. Much more. I became myself, Lyra said, looking up at the sky. Later that day, The final bond ceremony took place at the Earth Council Hall. Leaders from both Earth and the Varellan Empire were present. The room was full, but peaceful. Rin and Lyra stood in the center. A soft white light surrounded them as the final energy thread of the bond faded. The connection between them, once created by the rules of the arena, was now officially released. The crowd stood and clapped. With quiet respect. It was not a loud celebration. It was a moment of honor. Queen Thalira's message appeared on the screen above them. She looked graceful, calm, and proud. My daughter, I made choices in the past that I thought were wise. But you have shown me a different kind of wisdom. Today, you stand not as someone returned, but as someone renewed. The Empire waits, not to claim you, but to welcome your voice. Lyra lowered her head in respect. After the ceremony, Rin and Lyra walked through the garden one last time before her ship would arrive. You don't have to leave if you don't want to, Rin said. I know, Lyra replied, but I must return. My people need to hear what I've seen and felt. Maybe they are ready to listen now. Rin looked at her with a quiet smile. Then go as more than a princess. Go as a bridge. Like you said. She touched his hand gently. And you, Rin, will you keep training others? Yes, he nodded. But not just fighters. Now I help young people from different worlds learn how to work together. Fighting may win games, but wisdom wins peace. A soft sound filled the air as a small, smooth ship landed nearby. It had the gentle design of the Varellan Empire, shining with grace but no pride. It's time, Lyra said. Rin stood tall and nodded. Then this is not a goodbye, it's a beginning. She stepped into the ship but turned once more to look at him. I will carry Earth with me, she said, and I will carry you in the stories I tell, he replied. The ship rose into the sky. Rin watched as it became a small star in the daylight. Weeks later, deep within the Varellan Empire, the Queen's Hall opened for a special council meeting. Lyra stood in the middle, wearing both royal blue and Earth's white ribbon, a sign of peace and learning. The nobles looked at her with surprise. She did not return as a silent daughter. She returned as a voice of change. She spoke clearly. Our world is strong, but strength is not enough. I lived among humans. I saw that questions are not weakness, choices are not threats. Respect grows from listening, not only from command. One elder stood. And what would you have us do? Princess, let our people speak, she said. Let them vote for local leaders. Let them share ideas without fear. Let our empire grow not just in stars, but in spirit. It was a bold request. There was silence again. Then, slowly, a few hands clapped. Then more. Queen Thalira stood. My daughter has returned with more than experience. She has returned with light. Let her lead this change, carefully and wisely. And so, a new path began within the Empire. Back on Earth, Rin sat in the academy garden. A small group of young aliens and humans listened to him. Peace is not soft, he said. It takes strength to understand those different from you. It takes effort to build something that lasts. A child raised their hand. Will Princess Lyra come back someday? Rin looked at the sky. Maybe. But even if she doesn't, part of her is already here. The wind moved through the garden again. This was no longer a story of winning or losing. It was a story of learning, of trust, of bridges built between stars, and it was only the beginning.